Chapter 4. The commotion from the pool area got louder. Through the forsythia and pumpkin vine, Sierra saw a middle-aged man stomping through the party with an even gait. He wore an old winter jacket and stained khakis that didn't quite fit. His skin was pale, like hospital fluorescence, and dull, cataracted eyes glared out from his grayish, weathered face. Kids stood back, giving the stranger a wide berth. Robbie shoved the notebook into his shoulder bag. "We gotta go," he said again. "What's going on?" Sierra's hand wrapped around his arm. "Who is that?" "I don't have time to explain," he said, backstepping deeper into the bushes. He took Sierra's hand and pulled her toward the garden wall. "Hop over this wall and run. You hear me? Go." "But what about you?" "I'm gonna lead him off somewhere else. He'll chase me. You get out of here." "Chase you? Robbie, no!" But he'd already disappeared into the underbrush. Sierra took a quick look around. The party was trying to get itself started again. Apparently, the stranger had wandered off. She could hear kids carrying on about messing that dude up wherever he was. A movement caught Sierra's eyes in the bushes where they had just been sitting. As she turned her head, the man stepped out with a muffled grunt. His unblinking eyes stared down at her. Sierra's yell got stuck somewhere in her throat. She took 2 steps backward. "Where's Lucetta?" His hoarse whisper sounded somehow dissonant. "What?" Sierra was whispering too, and she had no idea why. A stank, heavy air invaded her nostrils. It was the same smell they couldn't get out of their basement after a rat died inside one of the walls. "Where is Lucetta?" he growled again. She took another step back. "I don't know what you're talking about." The thing, it didn't seem like a man at all anymore, tensed as if it was about to pounce. One thick bluish hand grabbed Sierra's left wrist. It was cold like a slab of raw meat. "Tell me." It pulled her arm toward its face, eyes twitching. Sierra yanked her hand free. "Get away from me! You're talking to the wrong girl!" She walked backward, keeping her eyes on the thing. "Sierra!" It knew her name. She glanced up. It was smiling. Sierra turned around and ran. She reached the wall and scrambled up over it, scratching her fingers badly on the sharp stones but not caring. The only thing she could think about was the thing rushing up behind her, the cool grasp of its hand. She landed on the pavement of a quiet side street, the vibrations of her fall shooting up her legs and back. She broke into a run, glancing back just quickly enough to see the thing lurch off the wall and stumble to the ground. She turned a corner and headed uphill toward Prospect Park. "Sierra!" it brayed. It stood at the far end of the block, panting. "Stay away!" she yelled. She dipped around another corner, then another. She heard heavy footsteps clomping the pavement on a nearby street. She ran harder. Where was Robbie? How could he just vanish like that when she needed help? She stopped to catch her breath on the wide avenue where the spiraling mansions of Park Slope met the edge of Prospect Park. The streets around her were empty. No creepy, dead-looking guy. She sighed. Even on a creepy night like this, the park's darkness seemed welcoming somehow, its shushing leaves beckoning her from across the street. When Sierra was little, Grandpa Lazaro and Mama Carmen used to take her there for picnics. Each tree and stone brought with it a story, and little Sierra could dance for hours, imagining the adventures those silent field dwellers may have seen. When she became a teenager, the quiet and beauty of the park was her solace when the rest of the world just seemed too overwhelming to handle. But tonight, there wasn't time for solace or peaceful moments in nature. Someone, something, was after her. It knew her name. It had found her once and probably could again. She had to get home. She took off at a jog toward the bright lights of Grand Army Plaza. Back in Bed-Stuy, police lights pulsated up and down Putnam Avenue. Ambulances were parked at urgent angles alongside the rows of SUVs and hoopties. Folks from the neighborhood crowded around, gazing down the cordoned-off block to see who had been shot this time. "You know what happened?" Sierra asked an elderly lady with a handcart full of freshly laundered sheets. The old woman shook her head. "Another young something-something gone to dust, I'm sure." She shrugged and walked on, her pushcart squeaking crankily with each turn of its wheels. The cops keeping people away looked bored. Just another shooting, ho-hum. Sierra scowled at one of them, and he scowled back. "Hey!" someone yelled. Sierra spun around, her whole body tense to strike, but the corpse-like man was still nowhere to be seen. Some old guy banged on the bulletproof glass window of Carlos's corner store. "AC!" the guy yelled. "Give me a Lucy, man! Come on, wake up!" Further down Gates Ave, a couple of guys were throwing dice in front of the Coltrane projects. "Why you frowning, girl?" one of them called out as Sierra walked past. "Smile for us." Sierra knew the guy. It was little Ricky. They'd played together when they were small. He'd been one of those boys that all the girls were crazy about, with big dreamy eyes and a gentle way about him. A few years ago, Sierra would have been giddy with excitement to have his attention. Now, he was just another stoop goon, harassing every passing skirt. "I ain't in the mood, jackass," Sierra muttered, hugging herself. She was still shaky from the horrible night, and she knew any sign of weakness would encourage them. The guys let out a chorus of "oh-ho's" and pounded one another. "I'm just saying, Sarcastula," Ricky called after her. "Come on back when you in the mood." Sierra kept walking. At her block, she paused to make sure the creepy guy was gone for real. The trees shushed their quiet night song, and Rodrigo, her neighbor's cat, strolled by. Otherwise, the block was deserted. She made her way inside, crept up the stairs, and collapsed into her bed, trying not to think of the hideous voice whispering her name.